Axel. Thanks so much for stopping by the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. This video is going to be a little different than my normal structure, but I'm really excited about it, and because I want to have a bit of a discussion in the comments. And this is a story about how my band Jetson played to a full room and didn't get paid. And I want to hear your stories of when you didn't get paid, or when you didn't get paid as much as you were promised. I think sometimes they sting a bit right off the bat, but looking back, they're some of the funniest stories. And it really just goes to show, how wild it is out there for gigging musicians, startup bands, anyone that's just getting into the scene, or maybe's been in the scene a while like myself but hasn't had a breakthrough moment. And it really is a wild jungle out there, and I think some of those stories are the funniest to look back on. So I want to hear yours in the comments. But here's mine. This story starts at 6 o'clock when we came into the venue for sound check. There's 3 bands on this bill. So we sound checked first, and then we were kind of free to get some food or hang out in the meantime. So it's probably 6:20 when we were done sound check. We're hanging out, and probably around 7, the venue just packs out, and it packed so quickly that we knew something was up. And after asking around, we realized that this was a city event, and it's called a bar hop. So they start at one bar and they kind of move around from bar to bar. They have, some achievements that they can check off and that kind of stuff. But long story short, they were at our venue at 7, packed the place out. And I think they were supposed to be there for 40 or 45 minutes. And so me and the guys are sitting there hanging out thinking, we don't usually get anywhere close to this amount of people at our shows. So while the venue's packed out, why don't we go back there and play, even though it's 7 and our start time was supposed to be 9? So I approached the manager and just asked if we can play while the room is full, and the manager agreed. So our drummer, Evan, stood up on a chair in the first room. So the venue structure is kind of like there's one big square room when you first come in, where the restaurant is, and a bar where you can hang out. And then there's a larger music venue down a hallway where the thumbnail picture was taken, where the room is packed. There's a bar at the back, decent sized stage. So our drummer stood up on a chair, yelled in the main room that there's going to be a band playing in the back room. So it filled the back room even more, and we went up, played an awesome set. It was so much fun. It really had those elements of why we enjoy live music and playing live in general. Because, when you're playing live, and like, let's say as a lead guitarist, I'm playing a solo, and I'm looking out at the crowd, and there's, people that are truly listening and enjoying themselves. And that's live music. The feeling in the room is electric, and it was packed out. And so we played for 15 minutes ish, which was about 3 songs. And the other 2 bands that were on the bill wanted to get up there while the room was packed out as well. So they played for 15 minutes each-ish as well. And then the event moved on. And there was another group supposed to come at 8. So that happened all over again. All the 3 bands played a 15-minute set. And the place cleared out again, and then before you know it, it was actually our start time, when we were actually supposed to, or we were booked to play at 9, and the place was empty. Like, it cleared out. I tend to think even people who were just there at the venue we were playing at may have even just started to move around to the different venues with the event, because that's kind of where the fun was. That's where everybody was going. So our venue cleared out. There was very few people left. But there were a few, so we honored that. We said we were going to play at 9 as well. We played, and the other two bands played. And then when we approached the manager for payment, we were met with the reality that we were not going to get paid tonight, because we were only being paid for people who came in while we were playing. And it still doesn't make sense, because there were people in the room. So even if, the 10 people, even if we made $100 between the three bands, we should have got something, but we didn't. And honestly, I felt really bad for one of the three bands that was the medium-sized band. They were in from out of town. And, I felt bad for us and the other band as well, because we played essentially 3 sets each, and we kept the venue super fun for the people who were traveling around for the event. I don't know why we weren't booked to play for them in the first place, but all of these things just make it an interesting experience to book and play shows. And we've played so many amazing venues that, again, we want to frequently play because they're so good to their musicians. Not that we make, a ton of money every time we play, but we make what they say we're going to make, which we agree to. And I think that keeps everybody happy. That keeps everyone feeling good. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the term exposure. And I've seen this talked about on forums, like you're playing for exposure. And in my experience, and this is all this YouTube channel is my opinion, my experience. In my experience, the largest exposure gigs that I've ever had also pay really well. The people, and they don't talk about exposure, but the largest exposure that I've had with bands are always well paid too, and the organizers that book you don't talk about exposure. It's the venues that are talking about exposure that to me are usually the red flags, and it never makes sense to me to offer that as payment, because usually, like I said, in those events where a larger act is coming through, maybe you're opening, they're making more money in general anyways, and they've always been well paying for my bands. So let me know if you've had the same experience as well. If you're booking events, I would stay away from that exposure stuff, because it never ends up making sense, and it's usually just one of those words that is an excuse for just getting you to come in and play for free or very little money. So all in all, I'm excited to hear your stories as a gigging musician, and I think that looking back, all of the times where the venue is good to us and other bands were good to us just creates a great community of musicians, and it creates a great team where we can all work together to produce and create great live music venues. And the ones that don't treat their musicians very well, I find that catches up with them eventually as well. So all in all, thanks for listening. Hit the comments with your opinions and your stories and what you think your band should be paid and the best policies and all that kind of stuff. I want to hear it all. So thanks again for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.